Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is January 12th, 2023. It's on Thursday and sunny outside. How are you spending Thursday? Are you working or studying? Or do you have a day off today? Hmm. Have you made a resolution for 2023? Have you made a resolution? Have you made a resolution? Have you made resolutions for 2023? Have you made resolutions? Have you made resolutions for 2023? Have you made a resolution? Have you made resolutions for 2023? A couple of new rules might be instituted. The board of directors is instituting a couple of rules. New rules will be instituted according to the new normal society. Some new rules were instituted according to the new era, new normal. Some new rules were instituted according to the new normal. Some new rules were instituted during the pandemic. Some new rules were instituted during the pandemic. Some new rules were instituted during the pandemic. Some new rules were instituted. Some new rules were instituted during the pandemic. 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 There were many struggles and stories, sad stories, until the institution of the restaurant. We cannot describe how difficult it was until the institution of the restaurant. We cannot describe how hard it was until the institution of the restaurant. There were many struggles and sad stories until the institution of the restaurant. We cannot describe how hard it was until how hard it was until the establishment, institution of the restaurant. Institution. Many educational institutions in urban cities. There are many educational institutions in Tokyo and Osaka. There are many educational institutions, especially in urban cities such as Tokyo and Osaka. Which educational institution did you graduate from? 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 I'm gathering the information of the institution of a company. I'm gathering the information of the institution of my business. I'm gathering the information of the institution of my new business. I'm gathering the information of the institution of the business. I'm gathering the information of the institution of my new venture business. Are you familiar with publishing a book? Do you know how to publish a book? I'd like to publish a book regarding Japanese culture. And how do you know how much and the procedure until the publishing? Do you know how to publish a book? Because I'm planning to publish a book regarding Japanese culture. Do you know how much it will cost? And how to do that? Do you know how to do that? Do you know how much it will cost and how I can publish my book? According to the information, the original book was published in early 2000s. Do you also want to publish a book? Do you also want to publish a book? Are you also planning 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 to publish a book? Yes, I'm planning to publish. It won't be until next month that the author will publish. I don't feel like publishing this year. I'd like to have a day off. I'd like to have more recreational time this year. I'd like to escape from busy life this year. Which publisher should I use to publish my books? With which publisher did you publish your books? Which publisher is well known for publishing books of those newcomers? There are many publishers. The educational books are virtually monopolized by the publisher because I often see the name of the publisher on many of my textbooks. Yes, I see the name of the publisher many times, and most of the name written on my textbooks is the name of the publisher. Publisher, publisher. And since I reviewed the textbook over and over again, the name of the publisher has already been worn out. I cannot recognize which publisher it was. Since I reviewed the textbook over and over again, time and time again, the name of the publisher on the textbook has been worn out. I cannot even recognize the kanji anymore. It wasn't until the end of the month that the exam result was announced. The publication was announced. The publication was done. It wasn't until the end of the month that the exam result, the publication was done. Are you familiar with publication? Are you birthed with publication? Are you birthed with publication? Are you birthed with publication? Do you know how to do a publication of my book? How soon can I do the publication? How soon can I do the publication? Publication. It will take time until the publication. It will take time until the publication. It will take time until the publication. My method is usually very different from those of others. My method is very different from that of others. My method of everything is very different, totally different from that of others. My methods are totally different with those by others. Many things are methodical, and it will take time for the procedures. Many things are methodical, which can delay the procedures, progress, and so on. Many things are methodical. Many things are based on methodical procedures. Many things are based on methodical procedures. Methodical. Are you methodical or rough? Methodical. Many things are methodical. Methodical approach, methodical way, methodical method, methodical approach, methodical procedure, methodical phase, methodical approach, methodical method. Many things are methodical. Assembly lines are also methodical. Assembly is also methodical. Many productions are also methodical. There are many phases to produce a product. The first production, middle production, and the latter production. There are many phases in the production. They are always methodical. Checking the product to make sure that there are no flaws in them is also methodical. Assembly line is also methodical. Many things are often methodical, which can take time, ending up delaying the progress. Methodical, 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 methodical. Methodical, methodical. Removing the methodical procedures might be the key to breakthrough. Breaking the methodical way might be the key to breakthrough. Methodical. Obsolete methodical procedure. Methodical way of thinking. Methodical approach. Methodical. Based on methodical approach. Based on methodical proceedings. And since it is based on methodical proceedings, it will take time until you get the document, until you are confirmed, permitted, until you get a certificate. Many things are based on methodical procedures, especially in public offices, such as City Hall, Prefectural Office, and so on. So it can take time until we get the documents done. Until we have documents dealt with. Many things are usually based on methodical procedures, so it takes time. It takes time until we get the documents dealt with. Methodical, 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 methodical. Methodical, methodical, methodical. 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 methodical approach, methodical procedure, methodical way of thinking, methodical way, methodical method, methodical way of thinking, methodical approach, methodical address, methodical way, methodical method, methodical strategy, methodical method, methodical way, methodical direction, methodical faith, methodical direction, methodical way, methodical way. And adapt, methodical way. Many things about adapt, methodical way. Many things adapt, methodical way to make sure the safety and so on. Many things are done with methodical way to make sure the safety and so on. Many things will be done with methodical way. Many things will be dealt with methodical way. Many staffs will be dealt with methodical way. Many staffs will be dealt with in methodical way, with methodical way. Many things will be dealt with in methodical way, methodical. Many things will be dealt with methodical way. Many things will be dealt with methodical way. Many things will be done, completed with methodical way. Many things will be dealt with in methodical way, in a methodical way. In methodical way, in a methodical way. Many things will be dealt with in methodical way, methodical, 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 methodical. Methodical way, methodical method. Many things are dealt with in methodical way. The production is also done with methodical way. The proposal made by the employee will make its way to the bosses with methodical way. The proposal made by the employee will make its way to the bosses gradually with methodical way. Methodical. The application will be dealt with methodical way. The application will be dealt with, coped with methodical way, in a methodical way. The incident will be coped with methodical way, in a methodical way. Many things are dealt with in a methodical way. Methodical. Methodical. Do you like methodical way? I think many people don't like methodical way. Methodical way. Because it can take time until the documents are dealt with. Methodical. 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 methodical, many things are dealt with methodical method, methodical way, methodical. The procedure must be based on methodical way. The procedure must be based on methodical way. The procedure must be based on methodical way. The procedure must be done with methodical way. The application must be admitted with methodical way. So you cannot omit even one of the proceedings. The application must be accepted with methodical way. Even one procedure cannot be omitted. The application must be accepted with the methodical way. So even one procedure cannot be omitted. Even one proceeding cannot be omitted. Methodical way. Methodical. The application must be based on the methodical way. Methodical way. Even one procedure cannot be omitted. It is based on methodical way. Methodical. 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 I'm not a methodical person, but I try to be a methodical person in everything. I wish I were as methodical as you. And then I would keep a thing longer with a lot of care. Methodical way. Methodical. I'm still combating my atopic dermatitis. I have been combating my atopic dermatitis since I was born. I hope the new technology, medical technology, will eradicate my disease to assure me normal quality of life. I have been combating atopic dermatitis, eczema, since I was born. I have been combating atopic dermatitis since I was born. I hope the new medical advancement will find out the original cause of atopic dermatitis to eradicate this disease. I hope the new development of the medical advancement, I hope the medical advancement in the future will find out the original cause of the atopic dermatitis and create something medicine to treat atopic dermatitis perfectly. Not chronic treatment. I have been combating atopic dermatitis. I have been combating atopic dermatitis since I was born. I have been combating atopic dermatitis since I was born. I have been combating atopic dermatitis since I was born. I have been combating atopic dermatitis, eczema, since I was born. I hope the medical advancement in the future will find out the original cause of this disease and create a medicine to eradicate this disease forever, perfectly. I hope that the medical advancement in the future will find out original cause of this disease, atopic dermatitis, and create a medicine, miracle medicine, which eradicate this disease. I have been combating atopic dermatitis since I was born. I have been combating atopic dermatitis since I was born. I have been combating atopic dermatitis since I was born. I have been combating atopic dermatitis since I was born. I have been combating atopic dermatitis, eczema since I was born. I hope that the new medical advancement will find out the original cause of atopic dermatitis and treat this disease perfectly. I'd like to put an end to the combat with atopic dermatitis. I'd really like to put an end to the combat with atopic dermatitis. I really want to put an end to the combat with the atopic dermatitis. I hope the combat with the atopic dermatitis will come to an end. I'd like to bring the combat with atopic dermatitis to an end. I'd like to bring the combat with atopic dermatitis to an end. I'd like to bring the combat with the atopic dermatitis to an end. I'd like to bring the combat with atopic dermatitis to an end. I'd like to bring the combat with atopic dermatitis to an end. I'd like to bring the combat with atopic dermatitis to an end. I'd like to bring the combat with atopic dermatitis to an end. I hope the combat with atopic dermatitis will come to an end. I'm still in combat with atopic dermatitis. I've been in combat with atopic dermatitis. I've been in combat with atopic dermatitis since I was born. I have been in combat with atopic dermatitis since I was born. I have been in combat with atopic dermatitis since I was born. I hope it will end soon. I hope it will come to an end. I hope it will come to an end. I hope the new medical advancement will bring it to an end. I hope the new medical advancement will bring it to an end. I hope the new medical advancement will bring it to an end. I hope the new medical advancement will bring it to an end. I hope the medical advancement will bring it to an end. I'd like to put an end to the combat with atopic dermatitis. I really want to put an end to the combat with atopic dermatitis. The combat with atopic dermatitis is very hard, struggling, tough. Have you ever taken part in the festival? Have you ever taken part in the festival? Yes, I've taken part in the festival. It was very fun. You should. Have you ever participated in the party? Have you ever joined in the party? You should take part in the festival this time. It's very fun. It's worth visiting. It's worth taking part in. It's worth taking part in. Is it worth taking part in? Sure. It is worth taking part in. 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 I'd like to know where I can register. How soon should I register? By when should I register? When is the deadline for register? I'd like to register my license. I registered my license at the prefectural office. I registered my license at the prefectural office. I registered my license at the prefectural office. I registered my certificate, my license at prefectural office. Prefectural office. I registered my license at the prefectural office. Where did you register your license? Where can I register my license? By when should I register my license? I registered my name at the prefectural office. I'd like to register myself at a tourism agency. I have to finish registering my license by the deadline, otherwise it might be voided, revoked. It might be revocated. I'd like to register my license. I'd like to register the membership. I'd like to register the membership. My name is registered at the prefectural office. My name is registered as the national government licensed guide interpreter at the prefectural office. My name is registered at the prefectural office. My name is registered at the prefectural office. I've just registered my resume on the online service, online recruiting service, online job hunting service. I just registered my resume on the online job hunting site. I will register my resume on the job hunting sites. More. Where have you registered your resume? Which site have you registered your resume? On which sites? On On which online site did you register your resume? Please make sure that the company is registered in the official in the prefectural office. Please make sure that the company please make sure and check if the company is registered officially. Did you check if the company has been registered as a travel agency? Did you check if the company is registered as an official tourism agency? Tourism agency. I registered my name at the prefectural office. Did you check if the company has been registered as a tourism agency officially? Did you check if the company is registered as a tourism agency officially? Did you check if the company is registered as a tourism agency officially? I will register my name on the tourism agencies, on more tourism agencies. I will register myself on more tourism agencies. The first step to work as a national government licensed guide interpreter is to register themselves in tourism agencies, I think. I will register myself in tourism agencies gradually. My name is registered as a national government licensed guide interpreter in the prefectural office. I'd like to know if I'm already registered. How can I check it? I'd like to know if I am registered already. I'd like to know if I have already been registered as a national government licensed guide interpreter, because I cannot find my name on the web page now, although I finished the procedure. I enrolled in the school about 6 years ago. I enrolled in the school about 10 years ago. I enrolled in the school 10 years ago. Have you enrolled in military services? Have you enrolled in self-defense forces? Have you enrolled in military self-defense forces? Have you enrolled in self-defense forces? Self-defense forces. Have you enrolled in self-defense forces? Have you enrolled in self-defense services and self-defense forces? Have you registered? In the self-defense forces? Have you enrolled in self-defense forces? Have you enrolled in self-defense forces? Only the registered entities from the Minister of the Tourism Agency can hold the course. Only the registered entities, institutes by the Minister of the Tourism Agency can hold the course. 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 Are you registered? Yes, I'm officially registered. Yes, I'm officially registered. I'm officially registered. Is it registered goods? Registered delivery. Is it registered delivery or ordinary delivery? Only the registered entities, institutions, institute by the Minister of the Tourism Agency can hold the course. Otherwise, the license cannot be renewed. Have you already registered in the prefectural office? Yes, I've already registered in the prefectural office as the National Government License Guide Interpreter. Yes, I've already registered in the prefectural office as a National Government Licensed Guide Interpreter. Yes, I've already registered in the prefectural office as a National Government Licensed Guide Interpreter. As a National Government Licensed Guide Interpreter. Cool. Registered. Have you already been registered in the tourism agency? Have you already registered in the tourism agency? Have you already been registered in the prefectural office? How long does it take until the registration? It took about 1 month. How long does it take until the registration? Registration. I'm gathering information about the registration. I'm gathering information about the methodical procedure until the registration. We should check the methodical procedure until the registration completed. I'm checking the methodical procedures until the registration is completed. I'm checking the methodical proceedings until the registration is completed. I'm checking the methodical procedure. Methodical procedures until the registration is completed. Registration. The registration has been completed. The registration was done. The registration was dealt with. The registration was accepted. The registration was made. I'd like to know my registration has been completed. I'd like to know if my registration has been completed. What is your most precious treasure? What is your most precious treasure? Love or physical things? What is the most important treasure? Love or physical things? I'd like to treasure my precious time. I'd like to treasure doing what I'm interested in. I don't like waste my precious time doing what I'm not interested in. I don't wanna lose my precious time by doing what I'm not interested in. I don't like to waste my precious time by doing what I'm not interested in. I really don't want to waste my precious time doing what I'm not interested in. I really don't want to waste my precious time doing what I'm not interested in. I really don't want to waste up my precious time doing what I'm not interested in. I'd like to treasure my precious time. I'd like to treasure doing what I'm interested in. I treasure most of the things, but it's also important to ditch them to make space, physically and mentally. Some people treasure everything and they cannot throw them away, ending up accumulating many objects in the house. So it's also important to throw something away to make space mentally and physically. What do you treasure the most? Where do you treasure your money? I'm sure no one will want to tell us where they stock the money. Where do you treasure your money? Where do you treasure your album? Where do you treasure your treasures? No one will tell us the place where they treasure their treasures. No one will tell us the place where they treasure jewelries, money, and so on. No one will tell us the place where they treasure memorable things, albums, money, jewelry, and so on. Jewels. Nobody will tell us the place where they treasure jewels, money, and so on. I still treasure what I got from my friends, foreign friends. I still treasure the things I got from my foreign friends. I still treasure the things I got from my foreign friends. Where do you treasure your YouTube videos? Where do you treasure your belongings? Where do you treasure your YouTube videos? I treasure the gift from my foreign friends in a treasure box. I treasure the things I got from my friends in a treasure box. I treasure that I treasure the things I got from my friends in the treasure box. Do you have a treasure box? Treasure box. Treasure box. I usually treasure many things. I usually treasure everything. I used to treasure everything, which led to messy room. So I decided to throw some of them away to make space mentally and physically. I used to treasure everything, which led to messy rooms. So I changed my mind at some point of my life and decided to throw most of them away and decided to treasure only a few things. I used to treasure almost everything, which led to messy rooms. So I changed my mind at some point in my life and decided to throw most of them away and decided to treasure only really important things. I used to treasure almost everything I got or bought, which led to messy rooms, really messy rooms, bubbled over with things, crowded with, messy with things. So I changed my mind at some point and decided to throw most of them away, except on really important things. I used to treasure almost everything I bought or I got, but which led to very messy rooms. So I changed my mind at some point and decided to throw them away, throw most of them away to make space mentally and physically. And now I treasure only a few really important things. I'm glad to hear that you still treasure what I gave you, gifted you. I'm super glad to hear that you still treasure what I gave you. I'm glad to hear that you still treasure what I gave you when we were elementary school students. I'm glad to hear that you still treasure what I gave you. I'm glad to hear that you still treasure what I gave you when we were elementary school students. I'm glad to hear that you still treasure what I gave you. I'm glad to hear that you still treasure what I gave you. It's very kind of you to still treasure what I gave you. It's very nice of you to still treasure what I gave you. It's very nice of you to treasure what I gave you very long time ago. It's very nice of you. It's very nice and kind of you to treasure what I gave you when we were elementary school students. Do you still remember the dates? Please treasure the document. Please treasure the ticket until you bought the ship. Please treasure the document forever in the security box. Please treasure the ticket until the procedure is completed, just in case. Please treasure the ticket until 5 years after the purchase for insurance. Otherwise, you cannot get the free fix amendment. Please treasure the receipt until 5 years after the purchase for the insurance. Free fix bet, free amendment. Please treasure the receipt by 5 years after the purchase so that you can get the free fixed amendment for free. Please treasure the receipt and insurance paper by until 5 years after the purchase so that you can get the insurance for free. I will not tell you the place where I treasure my jewels. I will not tell you the place where I treasure my treasures. I'm super glad that you still treasure what I gave you for your birthday when we were elementary school students, right? Treasure. I used to treasure almost everything that I bought or got from friends, but which led to very messy rooms. So I changed my mind at some point and decided to throw them away, except for really important things. It's very kind and nice of you to treasure what I gave you very long time ago. It's very nice of you to treasure what I gifted you when we were elementary school students. The building worked as a treasury in the past. Drastic economic measure is needed, said the treasury. Treasury. The treasures stored in the treasury are made public once a year in the nearby museum, as far as I know. As far as I know, the treasures of the legendary emperor are made public, are displayed in the nearby museum once a year. As far as I know, the belongings of the emperor in the past stored stocked in the treasury are displayed in the nearby museum every year. Once a year, once per year. Treasury, 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 treasury. Treasury. The Treasury. The disaster was covered by the Treasury. The disaster was covered by the Treasury. The treasures stored in the Treasury are displayed in the nearby museum once a year, so please do not pass up the opportunity. Once you miss the opportunity, you have to wait another year. So please be prepared to visit the museum once a year opportunity to take advantage of the once a year opportunity. Thank you for your cooperation. Treasury, 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 Treasury. Treasury, Treasury, Treasury. Treasury. The treasures stored in the treasury are displayed in the nearby museum once a year, so please do not miss up the great opportunity to see gorgeous treasures by the emperor, of the emperor, of the emperor. Treasury, treasury, treasury. The treasury is built in a unique style without using needles or a screw. Treasury. Treasury. As far as I know, the belongings, the treasures of the emperor stored in the treasury are displayed in the nearby museum once a year. Treasury, treasury, Treasury. Treasury is a place where treasures are stored. Do you have a treasury in your house? Yes. The box is my treasury, where my precious things are stored. Treasury. Treasury. I'd like to see the treasury in Nara Prefecture. I'd like to see. Can I have the opportunity to see the inside of the Shoso in Treasury, where the belongings of the Emperor Shomu are stored? I haven't been there, but as far as I know, the treasury is located near the Todaiji Temple, so I'd like to go there. Next time I go to the Todaiji Temple. Who is the treasurer? Who is the treasurer who calculated the figures? Who is the treasurer who calculated the figures, numbers? Treasurer. The treasurer was arrested for cheating the sales figures. Treasurer. He was promoted to a treasurer. He was promoted to the treasurer. The employee who is good at mathematics and calculating was promoted to the treasurer. 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 Who is the treasurer? Are you in charge of treasurer? Who is the treasurer of the company? Who is the treasurer of the company? I'm the treasurer of the company. I'm the treasurer of the entity. Who is the treasurer of the entity, of the institution, of the institute, of the association, of the committee? Who is the treasurer of the committee? Who is the treasurer of the municipal council? Treasurer. Treasurer. What is treasurer doing usually? What does the treasurer do usually? What does the treasurer usually do? What does the treasurer usually do? What does the treasurer usually do? Treasurer. 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 He was promoted to a treasurer. He was promoted to a treasurer. Who is the treasurer of the association? According to the treasurer of the association, The entity is in the deficit due to the pandemic. According to the information from the treasurer of the association, it is deficit. It is in deficit. The entity is in deficit. The habitat of rare species might be threatened. The introduced animals can threaten the habitat of domestic species. Some introduced animals are threatening the habitat of domestic species. The habitat of animals are being threatened by human activities to a certain extent. Some habitat of animals are threatened, affected, damaged by human activities. Some habitats of animals are affected, influenced by human activities. Habitat. Some habitats of animals are threatened by human activities. Mass cut down trees, mass cut trees. Introduction of foreign animals, introduced animals. Introduced animals can threaten the habitat of domestic animals. The introduced animals can threaten the habitat of domestic animals. Habitat. I'm the habitant of Japan since I was born. The journalist had an exclusive interview with a habitant living in the disaster-affected area. The journalist had an interview with a habitant living in the disaster-affected area. The reporter had an opportunity to discuss the problems with the habitant living in the disaster-stricken area, natural disaster-stricken area, the disaster-affected area. The reporter had an exclusive interview with the inhabitant living in the disaster-affected area. Inhabitant. What is the difference between habitant and inhabitant? What is the difference between habitant and inhabitant? Both mean the same, right? Habitant, inhabitant, habitant, inhabitant, habitant, inhabitant. Habitant, inhabitant. I've been the habitant of Japan since I was born. According to the information from the habitants, the disaster was more serious than reported on TV media. 100% inhabitants living in the disaster-stricken area alleged that the situation there was more serious than reported in media. There is no habitant in the remote island anymore. There are no inhabitants in the remote island anymore. There is no habitant in the remote island now. There is no habitant in the remote island now. There are some islands with no habitants, with no inhabitants. There are some islands with no habitants. There are some islands with no inhabitants. There are some islands with no inhabitants. There are some islands with no inhabitants. There are some islands with no inhabitant. There are some islands with no inhabitants out there in the world. There are some islands with no inhabitant. Habitant, inhabitant, habitant, habitant. Inhabitant, habitant. Habitant, 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 inhabitant, habitant, inhabitant. The journalist had an interview with the habitants living in the disaster-affected area. The journalist had an interview with the inhabitant living in the disaster-affected area. The reporter had an interview with some inhabitants living in the disaster-affected area. The reporter had an interview with some inhabitants living in the disaster-stricken area. The reporter had an interview with some inhabitants. The reporter had an interview with some inhabitants. The reporter had an interview with some inhabitants. Inhabitants. The reporter had an interview with some inhabitants. The reporter had an interview with some habitant. The reporter had an interview with some inhabitant. The reporter had an interview with some inhabitant. The reporter had an interview with some inhabitants. The reporter had some interview. The reporter had an interview with some habitant, inhabitant. I often confuse the word habitat with habitant. I often confuse the word habitat with habitant. Habitant, inhabitant, habitant, inhabitant. The island used to be inhabited until 20 years ago. The island used to have been habited until 20 years ago. The remote island used to be inhabited until 20 years ago. The remote island used to be inhabited until 20 years ago. Where do you inhabit? Where do you inhabit? Have you inhabited in the same prefecture since you were born? No. I just moved here 4 years ago. I'd like to inhabit Switzerland someday in the future. I'd like to inhabit Switzerland with my wife in the future. And Kyoto. Where do you want to inhabit? Where do you inhabit after retirement? Where do you want to inhabit after the retirement? I think some foreigners wishing to inhabit Japan. I think some foreigners wish to inhabit Japan. I think some foreigners wish to inhabit Japan. I think some foreigners wish to inhabit Japan? Where do you inhabit? Which city do you inhabit? Inhabit. Which city do you inhabit? Which city do you inhabit? Which part of Japan 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 do you inhabit? Inhabit. Which part of Japan do you inhabit? Inhabit. Which part of Japan do you inhabit? Which part of Japan do you inhabit? Which part of Japan do you inhabit? Inhabit. The island used to be inhabited until 20 years ago, but not anymore. No one is inhabited in the remote island now. The island is not inhabited anymore. The island is not inhabited anymore. The island is no longer inhabited. The island is no longer inhabited. Inhabit. Where do you want to inhabit after the retirement? Inhabit. I'd like to inhabit in the world. The battle between mongoose and snake is now prohibited by law, which was one of the attractions in Okinawa. The battle show between mongoose and snake is prohibited now by law. Have you seen the mongoose? Have you seen the mongoose? Squatted-like animal. I saw mongoose on video. Mongoose. Have you seen a mongoose in real? Have you seen a mongoose? Have you seen a mongoose on real? In real? Have you seen a mongoose 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 in real? Mongoose. Have you seen a mongoose in real? The battle show between mongoose and snake is prohibited now by law, which was one of the attractions in Okinawa, a tourist resource. Tourist resource. Mongoose. Have you seen a mongoose in real? Have you seen a mongoose in real? No, I haven't seen a mongoose in real, but I watched it on YouTube video. I watched mongoose on YouTube videos. Mongoose look like a squirrel. Mongoose. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.